Congressional Democrats are starting to show a little bit of fight by protesting against Donald Trump's OMB pick, Russell Vought. So Senate Democrats had stayed overnight Wednesday to protest Vought's nomination to lead the Office of Management and Budget. Senator Mazie Hirono, for example, of Hawaii said Project 2025 is dangerous. Mr. Vought is dangerous. We want to sound the alarm. This is Chuck Schumer. Sound the alarm on the reckless and lawless things that Russell Vought will do to American families. We are warning the American people how bad this is. We will see the consequences in the weeks and months ahead. Well, that's assuming he can get through the nomination process, which is partly on you. Just saying. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut and Senator Andy Kim of New Jersey said he's got radical ideas and he actually has the means to implement them very quickly. Okay, so it's an unusual amount of fight from Democrats that I'm not used to seeing. But what makes this guy so dangerous as opposed to Pete Hegseth and some of other of Trump's nominees? Well, I would say that they're all pretty dangerous and unqualified or ridiculous. But that said, why they're focusing on Vought is because, look, the Office of Management and Budget is pretty powerful. Okay, it does a lot. It's responsible for implementing the president's vision across the executive branch through its 5 main functions, okay, which is budget development and execution, management, including oversight of agency performance, procurement, financial management, and information technology, coordination and review of all significant federal regulations from executive agencies, privacy policy, information policy, and review and assessment of information collection requests. Clearance and coordination of legislative and other materials, including agency testimony, legislative proposals, and other communication with Congress, and coordination of other presidential actions, and of course, clearance of presidential executive orders and memoranda to agency heads prior to issuance. So you put this guy in charge of all that. That means if they do, you would hand Donald Trump and Project 2025 a great deal of power. It would be Project 2025 in effect, 100%. And it's not like they haven't already started with that, by the way. This would just cement it, okay? He would use that power to crush dissent and to remake the federal government into one that promotes Christian nationalism, okay? In October of 2024, for example, ProPublica had reported that Vought's proposals included plans to use the military against protesters. Oh, only if need be, only if it's necessary, of course. Right, yeah. Leaving them to decide what is necessary, kind of scary. Also, they would defund agencies like the EPA, get rid of civil servants. So, they've already started, okay? This current purge is nothing compared to what is eventually coming. In fact, Vought characterizes the federal bureaucracy as, quote, woke and weaponized. Here we go again with the wokeness.
Woke.
God. They don't even know what it means. But it doesn't matter what what they think it means, or what it actually means, because it's basically a buzzword that if that's woke. Why is it woke? Because I don't like it, okay? That's why. Okay. But now getting rid of all those civil servants would then lead to replacing them with radical constitutionalists. What is that? What is radical constitutionalism? Well, in Vought's own words, the right needs to throw off the precedents and legal paradigms that have wrongly developed over the last 200 years, and to study carefully the words of the Constitution and how the founders would have responded in modern situations to the encroachments of other branches. We're talking about encroachments to the branches, right? I mean, literally, the president is taking over powers that were delegated to Congress. Okay, these are congressional powers. Okay, but yes, yes. Let's think about how people who didn't even have modern sanitation would react to modern problems. Okay, like for example, the TikTok ban, which was passed by Congress. I think the TikTok ban was stupid. I thought it was really, really dumb. It was a Trump idea in the first place, and now he's like, I'm against the TikTok ban. Well, too late. You got Republicans and Democrats to pass it. You should put it into law, even though I think it's a stupid law, and I think it should have never been passed in the first place. But now you're like, no, we're going to extend that, right? And we're going to stop the ban for, 75 days or whatever, until they can find a buyer. And, I'm setting up a sovereign wealth fund so that the government can buy 50% of TikTok. Oh, boy. But anyway, he's basically saying that, hey, we should pretty much ignore every decision that has happened after the original Constitution. Okay? We should just go back to that without, all the different amendments? Because it's been amended quite a few times. And as a lot of these amendments, of course, were there to expand people's rights, like the 19th Amendment, for example. Right? You just going to ignore that then? It's going to make it so that women can't vote? Is that what you're doing? He also made the argument back in 2023 that Trump's policies in the first administration were thwarted because the lawyers come in and say it's not legal because it's not legal. You can't do that because it's not legal. That would overturn this precedent because, once again, what you're doing is illegal. There's a state law against that. What happened to federalism, guys? Hello. Now, Vought added that legal objections to presidential policies are where, quote, so much of things break down in our country. I remember when they would call President Obama, the dictator, right? Obama. Dictator Obama, I'm gonna take my guns. Never happened. They would attack him for doing executive orders and say, you're doing too many executive orders. And then Donald Trump's out here doing literal illegal executive orders, a flood of them. And they don't say a thing other than, bravo, Mr. Trump. Yes, we love that you're breaking the law. Awesome. Wow. Now, Vought had an example in this, right? A future president says, what legal authorities do I need to shut down the riots? What riots? So again, Republicans will be like, the riots in Portland, the BLM riots, that's what it was. 97% peaceful. But, and they never, of course, mention the MAGA riots on January 6th. In fact, they're like, no, those weren't riots at all. Well, they actually were. You're beating police officers, etc. But no, all those people are pardoned, by the way. And the ones who actually did do the rioting for BLM, which was a very, very small part of those protests, okay, they were arrested and they were charged. And so nobody walked. The people that burnt down the Arby's or whatever, they didn't walk. Okay. So this whole right-wing idea, the riots, so many riots, BLM riots. Ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, this guy's saying, well, what legal authorities do I need to shut down the riots? We want to be able to shut down the riots and not have the legal community come in and say, well, that's an inappropriate use of what you're trying to do. What? I wanted to bring in the National Guard to have them shoot all these rioters for social justice. And you got these people, these lawyers telling us, that's illegal. Like, that's the argument this guy's making. Like, I want to do illegal things. I want to do the thing. I want to take the military and I want to crush all protests and dissent. That's what I want to do. And the damn lawyers keep stopping me. How dare they? How dare they? This is authoritarian. 100%. Okay. And he says, I don't want President Trump having to lose a moment of time having fights in the Oval Office about whether something is legal. That tells me that Trump plans on doing a whole lot of illegal things. And he says, I just wanted to be able to break the law. I mean, is that so much to ask? To have President Trump break the law in so many different ways that we all plan on doing? Yeah, that should be a problem, that he should not be able to do that. Speaking of the courts, right? One of the major elements of this so-called radical constitutionalism is to instill fear into the Supreme Court, that the presidency is prepared to just ignore them. Yeah, the Supreme Court is supposed to be a check on power. And the radical constitutionalism says, oh, no, the court, let's ignore them. Yeah, and do whatever we want. Whatever the checks and balances. They don't believe in them. They don't believe in them. They believe in a dictator. That's what he's setting up. And look, they're not just doing it through Supreme Court test cases, right? No, what they're doing right now, you can see it with all the Trump executive orders that are patently illegal. They're bombarding the court with a wave of challenges with the aim of provoking a confrontation over the legitimacy of the existing legal order. Okay? And if the court starts ruling against him, Trump, if he has Vought, will defy it, which equals a complete breakdown of all the checks and balances. Now, here's the thing, too. This Supreme Court pretty much belongs to Trump anyway. So they wouldn't even, there's a good likelihood that they won't even rule against him, that they'll rule in favor of him, but he wants that showdown anyway, as does Vought, okay? Talk about impoundment, for example. Impoundment is the president's so-called ability to withhold congressionally appropriated funds, okay? Now, Congress banned that practice back in 1974. Trump wants to bring it back. He says, no, I want to hold the purse strings. I want to withhold funding. And this is what Vought believes. Remember, Vought has been telling Trump, you can do this. Here's the legal basis for doing this. Have fun, go crazy. Okay? Yes, we will make you a king. That's why Russell Vought is dangerous. Okay? And blocking him would be an upset to Trump's plans. But how can you fight, though, when Republicans have the majority? I mean, Democrats in office are like, man, what can we do? What can we do? We're in the minority here. We don't really have a lot of tools. Well, you play hardball. Okay, the minority does have the power to basically grind the legislature to a halt. Okay, the three biggest weapons that Congress has is blanket opposition, quorum calls, and blocking unanimous consent. So you can't vote to confirm any nominees. Now, you could do a quorum check, which forces the clerk to conduct a roll call of all 100 senators. If fewer than 51 senators respond, Senate business stops. It's all procedural stuff. And it's all stuff that we've seen Republicans do all over the years. Okay? And even if a quorum is met, by the way, calling for repeated checks forces Republicans to stay in the chamber to, keep things moving. Otherwise, it's blocked. Objecting to unanimous consent blocks all roll call votes, debates, and delays. It kills fast-track nominations, which is what, again, Donald Trump what he wants to do, okay? And you can delay and delay and delay and until you get to the midterms. And then you get a majority, and you could stop Trump from enacting his agenda. And that would be the whole point, to delay until there are elections, okay? Again, Republicans have already done all this. So it's not like it's unprecedented. I mean, Mitch McConnell, basically in his quest to have Obama be a one-term president, pulled out all the stops when it came to obstruction. It's time for the Democrats to do the same, okay? Block everything. Don't just be part of the problem. Be the entire goddamn problem, all right? I mean, hey, you want to take over the government, turn it into a freaking Christian theocracy? No. With Trump as king? Oh, hell no. Hell no. We're going to gum up the works as much as possible. That should be the plan. Now, that said, that means the Democrats are actually going to have to get tough, put themselves on the line. Look, we're not living in normal times. The Democrats have to stop thinking that we do, okay? And what worries me is the gerontocracy, okay? People like Chuck Schumer, okay? I don't think that the current crop of Democratic leadership is really all up to the task on this, but at least this, trying to block Vought, and if they go through and use all this procedural stuff to gum up the works, well, it would be a hell of a nice start. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.